new construction home inspection, where we're taking a look at building code, home inspection standards of practice. And again, every home should be inspected by a certified home inspector, even when the home is being built, because not every home is safe and healthy and functioning well, even if it's built to code, because there simply aren't enough building inspectors to make sure that homes are being built and constructed to the modern building standards and best practices and manufacturer recommendations. So I'm in a home right now that's being framed. It's a wood frame house on a crawl space, and we're taking a lot of pictures and videos of things and informing our clients about the condition of the home as it's being built. And home inspectors can oversee any renovation project or building project or construction project by going to overseeit.com. Overseeit.com. Consumers can go there too and hire a home inspector to oversee your project, just to make sure everything is built well and according to your standards. So what we're going to do is use InterNetG's inspection gallery to take a look at a few things that help us on this inspection. And a lot of the things are really just getting the terminology correct. So we're going to take a look at the top plates. We're going to take a non-bearing studs and load-bearing studs. We're going to take a look at floor joists. Right now there aren't any notching or bored holes because the mechanics, the HVAC isn't installed yet. We're going to take a look at the exterior sheathing and the studs on the exterior wall, the bottom plates, the top plates, the floor joists, the sill plate, the grade, and the clearance between the grade and the exterior sheathing. Take a look at the foundation. It could be a basement or crawl space or a slab on grade. This is a load-bearing wall. There's a difference between load-bearing and non-load-bearing. Non-load-bearing really doesn't have anything on the top. Load-bearing has something on the top. It bears the load of things on the top. So as we were talking about before in a previous video, the area here above my head is going to be the top of the stairs, a landing. And right now we've got some load-bearing joists, 1, 2, 3, and they're just resting on this double plate here. And that's not really good. That's not going to hold up a lot of load there. So during a phase like this, we're just going to point this out and ask the builder, why aren't there studs like this one holding up this heavy landing area that has at least 3 floor joists? And this is the staircase going down this way. So a couple of those items like that can be brought up during a home inspection if you hire a home inspector to inspect your home that's being built. Let's see if we can find an LVL that's used as a stud, a load-bearing stud. So here's 3 LVLs put together as this very big load-bearing beam with floor joists hung from it. And right here is a load-bearing point, and an LVL is used, a double one, a 2x8. So these LVLs, they're like layers of board that are oriented opposite from each other and glued together, so it's super strong. And the really cool thing is they can be used as studs. You can build an entire house out of LVLs. Studs, plates, joists, beams, girders, all of that can be used with this engineered lumber. The cool thing about engineered lumber is it can do things that natural lumber doesn't do, like be straight. So one of the things that you can do if you're building a home is to look down the edge of the wall and see if there's any stud that's too far in or too far out or out of plumb. So it should be vertical, up and down. So that's kind of a way to do it like that, where you kind of look to see if this joist here lines up with all the other joists down the line. And it's really important to get that just right when there's a big room like this. So this is a 20-foot big, high ceiling, cathedral ceiling in this area. And then the sloped ceilings and the walls will be hit with a lot of light. It's also true in the entry. So the entry there in the front is going to be 20 feet up, 22 feet up high, and a lot of wall along the staircase from the first floor entry to the second floor. And along that wall, there's going to be a lot of light. That's where you want to do this. You want your studs to be just right, because you'll see that area where those waves in the studs will appear. It's there. It's not down the second floor bedroom hallway that you need to be very particular about that. So let's take a look for load bearing and non-load bearing. We took a look at the Internachi illustration of bearing and non-bearing walls, and let's see if I can, here's one. Now, non-load bearing walls, they can still have double plates like this one. So this is a non-load bearing wall. It looks like this is going to be a closet of some kind. This is going to be, I bet, a bathroom closet, because the floor area is only like 2 feet by 1 foot. So that's kind of like a small closet area. And so you can see just how the joists are oriented and how this component here isn't really a double top plate, and there's nothing above it, right? That's a non-load bearing wall. Here's one that is load bearing. So you see the double studs at the corner, the double top plate, and the floor joist above it. But I bet this joist can actually span, it's engineered, it can span just like all the other ones, right over on top. So it gets a little confusing. It's not as clear as you may think. This is a load bearing wall because of that joist up there, but it's an engineered joist and it doesn't stop. It's continuous. So it really has only 2 points for load, bearing load. It's at that floor joist hanger there, and all the way down there at that load bearing point down there. So building officials, contractors, home inspectors, be careful when you're talking about bearing and load bearing, non-bearing. It gets kind of confusing sometimes. But the fun part is imagining, again, like a heavy weight that needs to be supported. Like this. So you've got this floor structure and floor joists holding up a lot of weight, double top plate, big header, over an opening, a rough opening for a window. This will be the full-sized stud that goes from the top plate to the bottom plate, all the way down there. And then next to it will be the trimmer that holds up the header over the opening. And these are cripple studs, kind of like filler in between. Doesn't hold up a lot of load. And so are these. And this is a sill here. And this could be a full length stud or a king stud. And it's the bottom plate there. Bottom plate, top plate. Single bottom plate, only one bottom plate. And then a top plate doubled up. Same thing here. So this is a non-load bearing wall in between, looks like master bedroom closet or office closet and the office. It's a double plate, no header, just cripple studs, kind of like filling it in. You can see we've got some full length studs there, a full length stud there, but this is just a doorway. It's not holding up anything. There's no load above this wall. So this is a non-load-bearing partition wall. And this is really helpful when you're doing a home inspection after the home is built. You can help your clients figure out which wall can I take down, right? Just can't take down any wall. So going back to our computer here on site, we can take a look at drainage slope, where the slope around the house has to be sloped away from the foundation. This is part of code. This is one thing that home inspectors look at all the time. We look at how water is managed, especially surface water. There's really three things that every home and building needs to have in place in order to manage water. It's surface, subsurface, and then foundation, waterproofing or damp proofing. We'll take a closer look at that. And then there's the distance from the grade. We have a wood frame house here with studs, sill plate, joists, band or rim joist, sill plate. And we want this wooden siding and this wooden member here to be far enough away from the grade. We don't want any capillary action wicking up water into the wooden structure. So we have here 8 inches minimum clearance for siding and stucco and 6 inches minimum clearance for masonry. And let's go use this illustration. Let's go apply it to this home that we're inspecting that's under construction. Okay? So let's take a look at that. And in this home, we have a couple things that we could be concerned with, but we'll let the contractor work on it for a little bit. We'll just notify our observations. We'll report on our observations, but make it taken care of. So right here, we have the grade, which is what we're standing on, right? And then we have the house structure. This is the front corner of the house. And we have an impervious surface here, and we have the grade that's going to be here, and the grade that's going to be here. So we just saw from the InterNACHI illustration that we need 6 inches from the grade, the finished grade, this is a rough grade, to anything that's not treated, like the non-treated sheathing. We need 6 inches at least clearance. I like to see 8. This is pressure treated wood, not supposed to rot when it gets wet, but it's not supposed to be that close. So this could get covered up. Who knows what's happening here? Not sure yet. We can take a look at the building plans, but right now, this is very close to a hard surface, and this is non-treated wood. Non-treated wood, sheathing, hard surface. This can actually wick water through capillary action and cause water problems. So right there, water can wick up through the masonry, which it does naturally, and it can wick all the way up through capillary action. That's why we see efflorescence on masonry. Efflorescence on masonry is water wicking up through the porous masonry, the stone, the concrete, the cement, and drawing with it salt. And then as it evaporates, it leaves that salt behind. We won't be able to see any of that here because it's simply not old enough, hasn't been around long enough. What we're looking at here is, according to InterNACHI's illustration and building code, we need clearance all the way down between the non-treated sheathing and finished grade. And we just don't have that here. What we do have is components of subsurface drainage and waterproofing. And we took a look at that in the previous video, but I'll show you once again if you're hanging out. This is a cool shot. So, building standard, building code practices require a parging, which is a cement coating, cement, sand, and water. You coat it code says 3/8 of an inch thick. Don't think we have that here, just by looking. And then there's different ways to damp proof the foundation wall. One of them is this: parging, bituminous coating, that's like tar coating, and then have this kind of like drainage plane you can install. And this fabric keeps the dirt away from this drainage plane. And this is a dimpled piece of plastic, hard plastic, and allows the water to go through the fabric, doesn't allow the dirt to go through the fabric, it would clog it, and then drain down. And at the bottom of that area, down there, is supposed to be a lot of washed stone or gravel, maybe wrapped to keep clean with some filter fabric, just like we saw in the piece of plastic there, and then a drainage pipe or drain towel. And it's discharging maybe out that way, down, and it's supposed to run all the way down, and it's supposed to be, there's the footer below this foundation wall, 12 inches wide footer, 6 inches tall footer, and 1 foot away from the footer should be gravel. At the level of the bottom of the footer, gravel at the bottom of the footer, 1 foot away from the bottom of the footer, with a drainage tile. So let's take a look at that illustration, maybe from Internetgy, if they have a better illustration, so we can figure out what we're looking at. Let's go back inside. To my setup here. Okay, so let's see. Maybe we got, yeah, here it is. So we've got the concrete footing. This is the crawl space wall made out of concrete block. And the concrete block foundation wall rests on a footing, 12 inches wide by 6 inches deep, minimums. Now, a foot away, all of this has to be gravel or stone. And it has to be, there has to be a drainage pipe there, or tile, but drainage pipes. And that could be wrapped in filter fabric as well. Or the filter fabric can also be installed around the gravel stone that's clean. As a builder, I like to bring that gravel all the way up to the top. This builder didn't, but at least you have gravel down here. And you can't put the drainage pipe on the bottom of the ground. You have to put some stone down, throw the drainage pipe in, and then cover up the stone. And it's 2 inches minimum, then the drainage pipe, and then 6 inches minimum on top of that. But ideally, I'd love to see all of this with not just clean fill, but stone with filter fabric going up to the top. And then you've got your backfill dirt, and then they're damp proofing. It's not waterproofing, it's damp proofing. With that parging, the bituminous coating, and that dimpled plastic with the filter fabric. Then you've got that 8 inches minimum clearance, which we don't have here. I like to see 8 inches between the grating and the sill plate, even though this is pressure treated. Just want to make sure there's plenty of room. So that's what we're looking at during this inspection of this home being built. So if we take a look at a couple other things, well, let me flip you around here. So this is a good illustration from Internetgy's illustration there about that coating. Got the bituminous coating, damp proofing material, and the drainage board with the gravel and the stone. And then in the crawl space, we're going to have all of this to control water vapor in the crawl space. Now when you're crawling around on the outside, what we want to do is make sure that all that load that we're talking about, where the load comes down through the foundation, through a path, down into the footing, all the way down in the ground where the footing is, right? We want that to be continuous, a load path. We want everything to be fastened and connected really well. So what we're going to do is take a look at code and see where we should have nails or fasteners. So we go into the fastening schedule, and that's table R602.3.1, right? And if we scroll down here, not the wall, but the floor, we have this floor stuff, and we have the rim joist or band joist to sill or top plate, right? We need 8 penny common or 10 penny box. And we need them 6 inches on center, toe-nailed. So let's take building code and apply it to this house, right? Let's see if they toe-nailed the sill plate. What was it? Every 6 inches on center. Okay, so back where we were in the front of the house, remember, with the poor clearance? So this is a band joist, or a floor joist that's on the outside, right? So it's an end joist, I call it. And there should be toenails from this joist to the sill plate, toe-nailed every 6 inches. So we've got one there, and no, that's not 6. Here's 6 inches. No, missed it. Well, that's 6 inches. That's 6 inches. But so we're missing the toenails, right? Oh, we can't see it over here, right? But I know where else we can see. So that's what building code says. It says that to make sure the house made out of wood is fastened and connected securely to the foundation, well, you need to attach the floor structure, which are the floor joists, to the sill plate. And the sill plate is bolted, anchor bolted, to the foundation. So let's take a look to see if we can put all that together. Here's a rim joist. Rim joist is at the end of all of the joists, and they're nailed. There's the ends of the joists right there, right? We want 3 or 4 nails depending on the size of the nail. So here's, let's pretend this is a floor joist coming in, I call it the end joist on the side, or you can call it the band joist. And it's attached here with 3 nails, 3 fasteners at the end. This needs to go in. There's 3 there, 3 there. This is according to code. Like, how do you attach the end of a joist to this band joist? With 3 nails, 3 fasteners. Looks like that one missed. This rim joist that is attached to all the ends of the joist, floor joist, needs to be secured to this sill plate, which is secured to this foundation wall. Now the sill plate is anchor bolted to the foundation wall. What is connecting this entire floor structure to the foundation? These little toenails. That's why they have to be every 6 inches. There isn't one here. Here's one, 2 feet away. So and there's another one, and this one. Oh, there's one there. So nothing. 1, nothing. 2, 3 feet, nothing. There's one, nothing. There's another one. So within 8 feet, we've got 3 toenails. That's not according to code. And it's really important to build according to a standard so that your entire floor structure is connected to your foundation. How do you know if it's connected? Contractor messed up. Bank inspector doesn't care. Where's the local building official? They're too busy. Homeowner? Doesn't know. Builder? Supervisor isn't on the job. There's no one to oversee the quality of the work being done. Every home under construction needs oversight by a certified home inspector. Overseeit.com. Overseeit.com. Not beating up the contractors. Just saying, we need our homes built well. They need to be safe, functioning, and healthy. And there's standards by which you build. And this is not according to a standard. There's missing, look at all this missing toenails. They're supposed to be 6 inches on center. Every 6 inches on center, a toenail? Contractors are probably like, that can't be right. Yeah. How do you fasten the entire floor structure to the foundation? This is the only way to do it. Or straps, right? If you got straps, I like both. A strap is something that secures the wall, even all the way to the roof. The wall down to the band rim joist, to the plate, to the foundation, right? There's a metal connection between all of these. Even if you're in a seismic zone that doesn't move, right? There's no earthquakes, or there isn't a whole lot of high winds. A metal strap connecting all these things is a good idea. If I was building this house, it was my house, that's what I would do. So, we've got the foundation wall, which is improperly parged. It's supposed to be 3/8 of an inch thick. This is called damp proofing. It's not waterproofing. Damp proofing, parging, bituminous coating. Here's a foundation, drainage plane, dimpled hard plastic with a fill fabric, secured, and this is supposed to be damp proofing here. This is good. And then this sill plate, pressure treated sill plate with I don't see where's the gasket? There's supposed to be a gasket in there. Pressure treated so it doesn't rot, because we all know that masonry wicks water into wood. Masonry that's wet wicks water into wood. So we don't want this to rot out. So it's pressure treated. This sill plate is anchor bolted to the foundation. There's an anchor bolt, 1/2 inch diameter, that goes 7 inches down in here, 7 inches deep, and makes a 90 degree. So it's hooked in there. And this is anchored down into here. How do we get this anchored here? It just rests here. Well, you either have a strap or some other approved connection that's engineered. I love that. Code says toenail it. But this is a toenail. You can see this is just inadequate. Code saying you should toenail. Is this going to hold the floor joist system to that plate? It's cracked already. We should stop doing these toenails. And they're not even installed every 6 inches. No one's paying attention to these things. No one's paying attention to the code where it says toenail it every 6 inches on center. How's a toenail supposed to hold the entire floor structure to the sill plate, to the foundation? So we should just abandon that dumb idea and make it required to have engineered connections. Metal is great. Metal straps, metal braces, metal brackets. That's installed and engineered. Strong Tie is a fantastic company that makes those engineered products that connects our systems of our homes that are really built disconnected, and they connect them. They connect them well. So let's go back. It's so much fun being a home inspector. Not a code inspector. Code inspector. They just deal with code. You have to deal with code. Use code to your advantage by hiring a home inspector. All right, so we're back to code. There's the joist to seal, toenails. There's the rim joist, toenail every 6 inches. There's the band or rim joist there. Got 3 16-penny common. It's probably what we saw. And they're end nailed. And we saw that. We saw that on that rim joist. Every end of the joist was end nailed. They call them face nailed, end nailed. So that's code. That's applying these incredibly difficult tables to understand. let's see, what else do we have? Flooring. Yeah, so let's take a look at this. So we've already looked at studs, bottom plates. I'm standing on the subfloor. Now what's beneath us? Well, let's see if we can take a look. We have a joist here, and it's bearing on the foundation wall, which is the sill plate on the foundation wall here, this exterior masonry wall. This sill plate is pressure treated, we saw that, and it's anchor bolted, right? And there's the joist header, or the rim joist that connects all the joists at the end of all the joists. I wonder if there's a shot. Let's see if we can get anchor. There they are. There's Internet illustrations are awesome. So here's the foundation wall with that sill plate that we saw. Here's a bolt here. Has to be 2 bolts per plate, minimum. The maximum distance from the end of a plate to a bolt is 12 inches. The minimum is 7 bolt diameters from the plate end. So 1/2 inch diameter, 7 of them, that's 3.5 inches. So 3.5 inches to 12 inches maximum. And then they can't be more than 6 feet apart. And they got to be in the middle third. Okay, so let's take that information, that code information, and that information from Internet's illustrations, and see if we can apply it to our inspection of a new construction being built. Let's take a look. We're going around the corner. I'll show you where I'm going. Going around the corner, down here. And remember, we need this surface water management. We need, it looks like 10 feet here. So we need 6 inches of a slope in the first 10 feet away from the house. That's one way to manage water. Gutters, downspouts, and surface drainage. The other way is subsurface drainage, and the other way is waterproofing or water damping. A combination of all three is excellent. That's what you really want. On all three. Crawl space access. There's code for a crawl space access, right? You want it to be big enough to get equipment in there.